It is 11:36. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mara Mukwanda. So, while our society is well aware of female victims, often male victims of sexual assault and rape are forgotten or neglected due to shame, stigma, and the like. Indeed, some may find it surprising that at least 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before their 18th birthday. This number rises to 1 in 4 men who experience unwanted sexual events across their lifetime. To understand the effects of sexual abuse on male survivors, we have the founder of MatrixMen, Martin Pelder. Good morning, Martin, and thank you for joining me.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and yourself?
All right, thanks, man.
Right, so what do we know about the rape and sexual assault of men?
Well, the first thing is that we need to get the numbers right. So 1 in 6 is not a number in South Africa. In South Africa, sadly, it's a lot worse. We find that 44% of all boys will have suffered some form of sexual abuse by age 18. So the 1 in 6 is derived from the American and Canadian standard. We believe that it's not 1 in 6 there, but they still need to do the research. So in South Africa, we have research, and that pegs it at 44%. Or there was a recent study done in 2016, the Optimus study, where it was 36.9% of all boys by age 16. So yeah, it's a lot worse than what we perceive it to be in South Africa.
Yes, it is a lot worse, and it is very common because 44% is a big number. But why is no one talking about it?
Well, I suppose there's this perception that men can't be abused. We'd like to think that we're strong enough, and there's been a focus on the feminine for so long now that we've kind of forgotten about the hurt and broken masculine, and it's just we sort of catching up, in terms of the feminist movement has been going for a very long time. It's been going since the 40s, 50s. And men have only started talking about these things in the last sort of 10, 15 years in South Africa. So we got to catch up, and we just got to raise awareness, and we just got to make it normal. We got to say, listen, it's okay to talk about these things. It's okay. You're not less masculine because you suffered sexual abuse as a child. In fact, you're braver and you're more masculine for coming out and talking about it and dealing with it. Because the net effect is that you are going to be a much better father, a much better husband, much better person to your family and to those around you.
And let's talk about the effects that sexual abuse and rape, or rather sexual assault, has on men, the long and short-term effects.
Yeah, long-term, it's varied. Have we got 2 hours? Sorry, how many hours did we have? That's no. So it's varied. So I think the first most prominent issues that happen with men are anger, addiction. So when I talk about addiction, I'm talking broad spectrum addiction. So addiction to alcohol, drugs, pornography, food, gym, work, all that sort of stuff. So anything that's dysfunctional, that you spend a disproportionate amount of time on in your life so that you avoid having to deal with family or avoid having to deal with the everyday things that happen in your life, we would call an addiction. So anger, addiction, the inability to stay faithful in a relationship is another one. And it's almost men. I often counsel men, and they say, I don't want to have affairs. It just happens, and I just find myself doing it, and I don't understand why. And they actually hate themselves for it. So that's another one. Low self-esteem, men who feel they're not worthy, don't deserve anything. So that's a big issue. And essentially depression, anxiety. Those who have been diagnosed with mental disorders like borderline personality disorder, bipolar, etc., etc. So depression, anxiety. There's quite a few. When you take, it's not just going to be one of. It'll be a collection of various elements that will point towards somebody who's suffered abuse in their life.
Mm-hmm. And how does the abuse affect sexuality?
The abuse affects sexuality in that it causes confusion. So, for instance, I was chatting to somebody this morning, and I had a young man who was raped and abused by an auntie from the age of 5 to about the age of 13. He tried to speak to his parents about it. They were just like, oh, nonsense, auntie would never do that, you know. And the net effect for him was that he detests women. He hates women. And therefore, he now finds solace in the arms of men, specifically older men. So he's always looking for a father figure because his father wasn't very present. So, you know, it's a whole conglomeration of issues that sexual abuse survivors face. You know, so fatherlessness, narcissistic mothers, aggressive. You know, there's a big issue that surrounds it. Normally, we find that children that are sexually abused aren't just victims of one specific form of abuse. They will be abused by their parents in terms of emotional neglect, you know, sometimes physical neglect or physical abuse. And so for him, it was a case of he became homosexual, but didn't really display that as a sexual choice, if you know what I'm saying, or a sexual, you know, what do they call it nowadays? You know, this is a very delicate ground that we deal with. Other men also suffer a sexual identity crisis. So in other words, they are married and they would watch gay pornography to get their jollies because there's this conflict in their minds. You know, one of the biggest issues about sexual abuse is that it's not always a violent act. Sometimes it can be an incredibly loving act. You know, so if you get a child who comes from a home and is neglected, he's abused at home, and he finds a man who then abuses him, but in a loving way. You know, it's, oh, I love you so much. You're so amazing. Let's do this together. You know, it becomes a good experience. Even though it's bad, it becomes a good experience for him. And this is another issue that boys face because girls face it too. Because the actual physical feeling in your body is pleasurable, but your mind might be saying, no, it's not right. So there's this mind-body disconnect where men are confused. You know, my body betrayed me, or, you know, it was pleasurable, but it felt so wrong, and, you know, that sort of thing. So yes, sexual identity, a lot of guys grew up being abused by a man and identify as homosexual. It's a difficult case. I know men who've been abused by other men, or boys that have been abused, who grow up and don't identify. In fact, they detest men. So it's a difficult thing, but there is definitely a sexual identity issue in a lot of victims of abuse.
All right, Martin, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, I'd like us to debunk the myths around sexual abuse for men.
This is Salam Media, and you are tuned into Mid-Morning Talk.
DoosieMed Medicine Depot, retail pharmacy and emergency medical depot, conveniently situated in the DoosieMed Medical Center, Corner Burger and Bosel Street, Pietermaritzburg. We provide safe, affordable and convenient medical facilities, open till 10 p.m. every day of the year. We have a full house clinic that operates from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is run by a qualified sister. The clinic offers immunization, vaccination, wellness, general consultation, and more. Call DoosieMed Medicine Depot on 033 3421 DoosieMed Medicine Depot, your pharmacy of choice.
Durban, KwaZulu-Natal has been the hardest hit by the recent civil unrest. Hundreds of supermarkets, factories and warehouses have been looted and destroyed. Thousands have lost their jobs and are in need of food and household supplies. Penny Appeal South Africa is currently on the ground working with communities to provide essential items to those severely affected. Donate toward the Penny Appeal Hardship Fund today and assist us in caring for families for a 3-month period with essentials and assistance to small businesses affected by the devastating effects of the unrest. Help us help our city. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 11 00 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
What makes Randery Jewelers the optimum place for your memorable gift? Is it our range of exclusive, high-end, luxurious jewellery? Or is it our master craftsmanship of all your bespoke jewellery needs? We believe it's because at Randery Jewelers, we know just how to make your special moments last forever. Whether it's for a wedding, anniversary, or just a simple gift to show your love, trust Randery Jewelers to make it special. www.randeryjewelers.com. Make your moments last forever with Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Osman's Taj Mahal Spice and Rice. For over 80 years, Osman's Taj Mahal have been perfecting the art of the perfect blend of spices, pure, aromatic, and well-seasoned. Spices to tantalize your taste buds. From creative cuisines to gastronomical gourmet goodies. From exotic odors to traditional dishes, Osman's Taj Mahal have remained synonymous with quality spices and condiments. Taj Mahal rice, beans, and lentils. Try our range of chili bite mixes, rose and ilachi syrup, our quick and easy biryani pack, and our traditional range of spice blends. Osman's Taj Mahal. There is no substitute for quality.
Africa. For your convenience, the Africa Muslims Agency's Durban office has moved to 797 Jansmats Highway, Sherwood, Durban. Our friendly staff are eagerly awaiting to receive, advise, and share with you the current ongoing campaigns and projects that you have been supporting for the last 35 years. Visit us at 797 Jansmats Highway, Sherwood, or call 031 207 5676. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mario Mukwanda, and we are talking about the effects that are on what am I saying? The effects of sexual abuse on male children, boys, male survivors, etc. And my guest for today is Martin Pelder, the founder of MatrixMen. Martin, thank you for staying on the line. For our viewers and our listeners, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section or send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 061 7660355. Now, there are many myths around male sexual assault and male abuse. So let us debunk some of those myths, Martin.
Sure. Where'd you like to start? So, well, the first myth is, of course, that men can't be raped or boys can't be raped. Of course, they can. I mean, if we look at the strict definition of rape in the law in South Africa, it is the penetration or forcing somebody to penetrate. So whether it be mouth, anus, or vagina, it's rape. Then molestation is, of course, somebody who touches inappropriately, where your costume covers you. So for girls, it would be breast or bikini bottom. For boys, it'll be their Speedo. So those are the issues that we look at. A lot of men, besides the embarrassment of the whole thing, there's the masculine myth that men can't be raped, or that, just forget about it, it'll go away. Those issues, it doesn't go away. It stays buried in your subconscious, and it's going to come out at some point in your life anyway. Other myths are that men can't be raped by women, that you are able to control yourself. And unfortunately, that's not true. Another myth is that if you had an orgasm, you enjoyed it and you wanted it. That is also not true. We compare it to what we call...
Just a second there, I've lost sound. Not quickly checking if it's on my side or if it's on your side.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Hello?
No, still nothing. All right. I just lost sound over there. I'm still trying to figure out what are the technicalities here. You know how it is with these systems that we have. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section or send them to us. We are talking about the effects of sexual abuse on men, survivors, male survivors, with Martin Pelder, the founder of MatrixMen. And we're also going to be getting a bit of insight into MatrixMen, who is MatrixMen, and what they do, and where you can get some more information. Martin, I think it's better now. I can hear you. Right.
Oh,
yes.
there we go.
Sorry about that. We were talking about the myths around male sexual abuse.
Yeah, I don't know how far we got. I think we were talking about the fact that men can't be raped by women.
Yeah.
So that is also not true. The other one was that, unfortunately, men have kind of two bodies. It's your physical body, and then you have your penis. And unfortunately, that sort of has a mind of its own. And if it's touched and caressed, it will react and respond.
Mm-hmm.
So the other issue was, I think we were talking about, if you have an orgasm, you enjoyed it and you wanted it, which is also not true. We call that what we call the tickle effect. If somebody had to pin you down and start tickling you, your desire is not to laugh. Your desire is to actually throw them off and maybe hit them. But your natural body reaction is you start laughing. And that's the same for girls who are unfortunately raped. They will lubricate, they will orgasm. It's a natural body response. So these are a few of the myths that we encounter when it comes to men and women, in fact, who have suffered rape and sexual abuse. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Martin, let's talk a little bit about MatrixMen. It was established back in 2012. What was the aim behind establishing such an organization?
Well, it was to create a space where men who've suffered sexual abuse can come out and speak about it, to create a safe space. In those days, even therapists didn't talk about it. And, you speak about 2012, it sounds like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
But the attitudes were so very different. I used to, when I started MatrixMen, phone into radio stations, etc. And people would laugh at me and go like, no, man, you're talking nonsense. That doesn't happen to men. And slowly attitudes are changing. It's been a long process. But, we started off in that space, so creating safe spaces for men to be able to talk about their sexual abuse and the issues that they suffered as children. And it's evolved. We just recently, 2 months ago, we opened up the first free mental health men's clinic in Africa, something that we're very proud of. And it's a goal that I've had for a long, long time, to open a wellness center where men can come in, where men can feel safe to be able to talk about the issues that they've encountered in life. And, we've just coined the phrase, we're trying to make therapy woke for men, because, men just, you're not manly enough if you go for therapy, you're not a strong enough guy if you need to go and speak to a therapist, which is nonsense. It's just a space where you can go and unpack issues that you're facing in your life and deal with them. It's that simple. And, we're just trying to encourage men to talk about the issues. And so for those men who are out there who are depressed, who suffer from anxiety, who have suicidal thoughts, the 10th in 2 days' time, it's International Suicide Prevention Day. And we got to face the facts that 23 men a day in South Africa successfully complete suicide. It's a shocking statistic. We are 4 times more likely to commit suicide in South Africa than any other country in the world. And there's issues there. And, I ascribe it to, number one, the extreme poverty that we have in South Africa. And number two, the incredibly high rates of sexual abuse that we have amongst men. So these are issues that we need to talk about, and we're just trying to, as MatrixMen, create that space where men can feel safe enough to come in and sit down and have a cup of coffee and just talk about things.
Now, are more men coming forward to talk about their traumatic experiences?
We are, fortunately, yes. Otherwise, all of this effort would have been for naught. But fortunately, yes. We get in a lot of men that are coming through and sitting down. We're getting more men joining our groups. We run support groups for various issues, anger management, abuse and trauma recovery. We do divorce support as well. And, for those guys that have been alienated from their children in divorce, so we help there as well. We try our best to help. Not always possible, but yes, we are getting a lot more men coming through, which is heartening. We'd like to see a lot more, definitely. We'd like to see thousands, but, we'll have to build up slowly because we don't have the resources at this stage.
Yeah.
Our ultimate goal. Sorry.
Tell us about the project of MatrixMen, Care Teddy.
Care Teddy was a project that I started a few years ago. And the concept, it was kind of a combination concept, a way to raise funds, because a few years ago, people weren't donating towards male survivors. It just wasn't, men don't get raped, we're not going to do that. So Care Teddy, we started up to do two things: raise funds for MatrixMen and to give teddy bears to children who've been sexually abused and molested. So what we did is we raised, actually, we didn't raise much money. People kind of didn't like the concept. Well, I sponsor a bear for a victim of childhood sexual abuse. But all the bears went to children in what we call care or comfort packs. So there's organizations around that would, like the Epic Foundation and a couple more, Teddy Bear Foundation, those sort of people would put together care packs for victims of sexual abuse. So in that, there'd be like a change of underwear, a little teddy bear, a deodorant, and a couple of other things, little items that just, comfort items. And those would go to the hospitals. So children that come in who've been sexually abused or raped, they would then get this care pack. And the teddy bear would be a part of that. So we managed to put together about 500-600 teddy bears and donate them to various organizations. Didn't really get a lot of money for it, though. I think in all we probably raised 2,500 rand. But we weren't really marketing well, and I put it on ice for a while. But we're going to revive that again, and we're gonna kick that off and hopefully get it going properly this time.
Oh, well, I think it's a great project, and you should definitely revive it, because when I was reading about it, I was like, hey, I want to sponsor a teddy bear. I mean, the idea of it just sounds nice. You can get a copy. I mean, you can get your own teddy bear, knowing that also you sponsored one and a child has theirs as well, which is a source of comfort for them during this recovery process. Martin, thank you so much for your time. Where can we go for more information?
You can go onto our website, so that'd be www.matrixmen.org. We are going through a process. It's a very basic website at the moment, but in the next week or two, our new website will launch. You can give us a call on 078-457-4911. You can pop into the Wellness Center. We're based in Robindale in Randburg at 31 Robin Hood Road in Robindale. And as I say, pop in for a cup of tea, glass of water, a cold drink, a cup of coffee, whatever it is. Sit down, have a chat. You don't have to talk about your issues. Just come and see the space, see what we're doing. And of course, all men are welcome.
All right. So thank you so much for your time, Martin, and have a wonderful day.
And you. Thank you so much for inviting me onto the show.
It's a pleasure. That was Martin Pelder, the founder of MatrixMen, a platform that gives men a chance to talk about their abuse and everything else that is going on in their lives. There's this misconception that men don't get abused, especially sexually. There's also this misconception that men should not talk about their problems. Men should not go for trauma. Men should not do this. Men should not do that. Men are strong, and men should not even cry. but we're slowly trying to break away from that and peeling off the layers and talking about it and trying to have these conversations so that they are more accepted and people can come out and share their experiences as well, in the hopes of encouraging others. So you can also go to MatrixMen, the website www.matrixmen.org for more information. I will give you the addresses and contact numbers as well if you need someone to talk to, or if you just need someone to listen to what you have to say. They are available. And who better than another man who has either been through this the similar experience, or has some kind of idea what you might be going through. It's not the end of the road, and there is help available. That's www.matrixmen.org, men with the MEN. It is 1 minute past 12. Just stay with us.